Hello and welcome to Rotted Reviews, and today I'm coming at you with not just another movie review, but also apparently a CGA color lighting scheme. There's a joke for some of you old-timers out there. And today's movie comes to us from 𝗘𝗾𝘂𝗶𝗽𝗺𝗀, who put this in front of me, honestly, a long while back. It was just something that he recommended, and I've taken way too long to get to it. I apologize for that. But Steve recommended to me the 1970 movie House of Dark Shadows. Now, cards on the table, I knew nothing about this movie whatsoever before I started watching it, but apparently it's based on an ABC gothic soap opera that aired from 1966 to 1971 called Dark Shadows. And both the series and this movie were created by Dan Curtis, and this movie kicks off by introducing us to the character of Barnabas Collins, played by Jonathan Frid, as a vampire who wakes up in his estate in Maine. He introduces himself to the current occupants and the Collinses of the estate as their cousin from England, which was an easy sell considering that some of the paintings in the building look exactly like him. Now, where this would ordinarily trod on the path of vampiric murders and cover-ups therein, this instead takes a little bit of a different turn as he is introduced to the character of Maggie Evans, who is a striking resemblance to his past lover, Josette de Play. And thinking that she is the reincarnation of Josette, Barnabas attempts to woo her in various fashion, including trying to seek out a cure for vampirism. At the end of the day, I would have to say that this is a fairly well-made film. It's quite adept. The characters were well fleshed out. The actors seem to know their characters very well, which kind of stands to reason considering some of the source material. The camera work was done well. The setting was wonderfully dressed, gothic, atmospheric, creepy, awesome stuff there. In fact, if I had to come up with my biggest criticism of this film, it would be almost a trifle, but it's the fact that in several scenes, it will build the backing soundtrack to a crescendo and then cut to the next scene, and so too does it simply just cut the music. It's very jarring. It's very peculiar, a choice that they made there. And I think that that's almost from its television pedigree. But even so, whenever it cut to the next scene, it's like, oh, it just felt like a big stumble there. Regardless, even though I really don't have, aside from that little point there, a whole lot of really bad things to say about this film, I would also have to say that it really just didn't work for me. See, this is honestly one of the parts that is a little bit difficult about film criticism, at least done properly, is I can extol the merits of this film, and I can make a recommendation for it. If you like classic gothic horror films, this is one that I would recommend, but at the same time, I also have to espouse my personal opinion, and in that opinion, I didn't care for it a whole lot. But let me explain the reasons for that. And honestly, this is where I might lose some subscribers. But there are two major things that I just don't really care for a whole lot. It's just a personal preference thing. One is expanded melodrama. I'm not big on soap operas, and this is born from a 1960s/70s gothic soap opera, and it feels like it. There's a certain level of melodrama that's imbued in a lot of classic horror that I do genuinely love. The Amicus anthologies, some of the Hammer films, things like that. But this one kind of goes above and beyond, and it doesn't really employ some of the camp and the other interesting, creepy elements that some of those other films did employ to keep my interest up. This had a whole lot of my darling, my love, and on that. It's not that I don't enjoy romantic storylines, I just like them to be a little bit more grounded and subtle. It's just a personal preference thing, like I said. And the other one is vampire movies. You might notice, I don't know if anybody has, that I don't really review a whole lot of them. They're just not my big cup of tea. And that's not a blanket thing. There are certain vampire things that I really do enjoy. For example, What We Do in the Shadows. Huge fan of that. Movie and TV show. Thirst. Great example there. Let the Right One In. 30 Days of Night. So on and so forth. There are vampire movies and so on that I do enjoy. However, the timeless, romantic, aristocrat, vampire classic storyline, it's just never been one that really resonated that hard with me, and it's honestly been one that I've never liked that much. And considering that this was a combination between that aristocratic, romantic vampire aspect, combined with that level of over-the-top melodrama, I would just say that House of Dark Shadows is a movie that, yes, I would recommend. Yes, was done well. Yes, is a good classic. And no, is not for me. That's pretty much my opinion there, and that's pretty much this film criticism. So thank you so much for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, Steve, for recommending this one to me. I mean, despite the fact that it didn't work for me, I do appreciate that, and I appreciate your patience in letting me get to this one. So thank you, everybody out there, and I will see you on the next one. Remember, next time you want to watch a horror movie, first make sure that it's good and rotted.